you guys are doing something right over there, and I don't know what you're doing, but you're doing
Yeah,
it. And your guys' freshman class that you got coming in,
yeah.
they're freaking
I
hot.
appreciate that. I think we're bringing in a bunch of good dudes and
Yeah.
good players on top of that. So,
And one of your dudes is actually about to probably be here in a couple minutes. Brant.
oh really? Nice.
Brant will be here, and he says nothing but good things about you,
Yeah.
like all the guys
I
say.
haven't seen him in a minute, so
Well, that's good.
hoping
We'll
to see
tell him to
him
come
before
back
I
here
get
and dap you
here.
up.
Yeah.
But no, I wanted to get into. I mean, yeah, baseball stuff, but get to know you too, like background. You know, I
Yeah.
did a little bit of digging,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
saw you're from Ashland,
Yep.
right?
Grew up in
And
Ashland.
then so grew up in Ashland. How did you end up at Ohio Dominican?
Yeah. So I was kind of a late bloomer going through the recruiting process.
Okay.
So obviously growing up in Ashland, you're aware of Ashland University. You're aware of everything
Yeah,
that
and
goes
they're
on
good,
there, and
like legit program.
they're one of the best programs in the Midwest.
Have they always been that good?
Yeah, I mean, John Shalley has
Okay.
been there for a really long time,
Yeah.
and he's just a really, really high level competitor and winner. So
Yeah, and I mean, at least me, I follow the pitchers.
yeah,
They got some freaking dudes.
yeah.
Like
So they've
somebody that's
kind
done
of
like 98 or something
yeah.
like that.
I mean,
Yeah.
they've had back-to-back years where there's going to be guys that are drafted, and
Yeah. That's sick.
they have it really moving. And I think growing up in Ashland, you're aware of that. And I
Yeah.
went to all the camps growing up and going to all the prospect camps and things like that. And
Yeah.
they recruited me a little bit, but I think it was just something that I wanted to kind of not do my own thing, but kind
Yeah.
of go away from home a little bit. And I think that
Heard
decision
that.
really changed my life with the people that I've met and the
Yeah.
relationships that I have now.
For sure.
So I visited Ohio Dominican. I had one other, visit set up after that. And
Yeah.
to be honest with you, I wasn't too crazy about going on it because I knew where I wanted to go right when
Yeah.
I stepped on
Yeah.
campus. So
Yeah. That's awesome.
it worked out good.
Yeah. Um, so you were at Ohio Dominican as a player 4 years, and then how did you transition from player to coach?
Yeah.
And what was that like?
Yeah, I think when you get into college baseball, I think your goal is to play professional baseball.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
and I
Which I
figured
think
out,
that's the goal. Like 90% of the people in here,
yeah,
it's like, hey, like, what do you want? We're gonna write you a program. We're gonna write, talk about your goals.
Right.
Everybody is usually like, well, I want to get
yeah,
drafted. And we can get into that a little bit further because I don't think they realize how much actually goes into that. And
absolutely.
you as a player
Yeah,
understands that.
yeah,
But yeah, what was that like going from player to coach?
yeah. I think that kind of mentality is really what it takes. Like
Yeah.
if you're kind of in your, regardless of level, if you're in your college program and kind of just doing what you need to do and kind of coasting, like you're
Mhm.
never really gonna meet that ceiling.
Yeah.
But I figured out pretty quick like that was not gonna be my path. So
Yeah.
growing up, my dad was a high school coach. My grandpa
Okay.
was a high school football coach. Like I've been around coaches my whole life.
Yeah.
So I knew I wanted to get into that, and truthfully, I had my exit meeting the day after our last game, and I was hoping that there was going to be an opportunity for me to just be around and help
Yeah.
out, and I knew it was going to be a volunteer basis. That's kind of how it is as a young coach. You have to cut your teeth a little bit, and
Yeah.
I'm really really lucky that Coach Antonides, I could talk about him on this for
Good
a
guy.
long time. Like
That's
just
awesome.
one of the best guys, in the game right now. One of the best guys, period. And
Yeah.
kind of took a chance on bringing me on staff and kind of giving me a bunch of responsibility
That's
in my first
awesome.
year, and really really.
And the
appreciate
first
it.
time I heard about you was through Patrick Jones.
Yeah.
Because when I moved here from Tampa, Patrick Jones was one of the first baseball guys that I connected with,
Mm-hmm.
and we started talking about, I don't remember what we were talking about, but something with Thomas More or something with your name came up, and he was talking about how much of like a grinder you were, and he's like, dude, he's up at Ohio Dominican, like going all out. You're not making a lot of money up there,
Right.
especially when you're your first year, like as a volunteer or
Yep.
whatever it is. But he's like, he's a really good dude. You need to connect with this guy.
Yeah.
So when I first talked to you, I kind of had that idea from Patrick because he only said good things about you, and Patrick's like a dude that I can trust. He's a great
Yeah.
guy.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as transitioning from like player to coach, is that weird? Like that first year, not like you're in the dugout, but you're not competing, and you're like, well, do people like,
Yeah.
are they gonna treat me as a coach? Are they gonna treat me as a player? Like, what is it? What's that
Yeah.
like?
I think, I was really, really lucky to play a lot at
Yeah.
ODU, so I didn't spend a ton of time in the dugout. So that year
Okay.
was my first time, like, you're in the dugout,
Gotcha.
and it was different
Which I
for
never, I
sure.
didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it was different for sure, and the relationship piece is, like, really important to me and really important to Coach Schaefer and really the program that we're building at Thomas More. Like, the pillar number one is the
Yeah.
relationship piece, and,
Yeah.
like, coaching guys that I played with taught me how to navigate that because my
Yeah.
brother was still on the team. There were
Okay.
guys that I really cared about, and
Your brother was on the team?
at ODU.
I didn't know
Yep.
you had a brother. So how old is your
Yep.
brother?
My brother's 2 years younger than me. He's the
Okay.
director of analytics at Ashland University right now.
Oh, sick. Okay,
So
perfect.
he is.
Awesome.
I could talk about him for
Yeah.
longer on this podcast
Okay.
too. He's gonna work in this game for a really really long time, and
That's
just
awesome.
really 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 bright. So,
That's really cool.
but that whole experience helped me navigate kind of, we're boys, but like there's a level of respect, and
Yeah.
when we need to get something done, we're gonna get something done.
And that's I feel like that's a fine line because at least here it's a lot of the coaches are younger guys. We have strong relationships with the players, but there's also like that we're still your coach.
Right.
I know we're a private organization, but we're still your coach. So there's like a line that
Yeah.
and maintaining that it's interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you want to be boys with everybody, but at the same time, like I'm gonna call you out on your BS.
Right.
You know what
I
mean?
don't think you can really recruit at a high level or develop at a high level without having really quality relationships
Yeah.
with those guys. So you
and,
have
and
to
it makes
navigate
and it
that.
makes sense that you guys are prioritizing that because if you talk to like some of the guys in here, like Brant and Kyle Flynn and like Jack Years or somebody like that
Yeah.
who says great things about you guys and that kid's a freaking baller. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say anything negative about you or Coach Schaefer.
Yeah.
So they're usually like fired up and they go
Yeah.
to war for you.
That's good to hear
Um,
because we're not scared to get in dudes when it
Yeah, yeah, and like
requires it.
Elliot Davis was another one who like every time they have that first like campus visit or meeting with you guys, they always say good things.
Yeah.
And for me, my goal is I want these guys to go somewhere that's going to get continued development. At the end of the day, they're always like, Coach, like where should I go?
Yeah.
I have this, and this. Okay, it's like, well, who do you feel like is the most bought into you? Who do you feel like is gonna give you the best tools to succeed? And then that's really it. Like you were talking about, taking the game as far as you can. If you truly want to get drafted, well, if you're at somewhere your first 2 years,
Right.
you don't sniff the field, you're on the back burner, like
Yeah.
good luck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that goes into a whole other conversation of like every single college guy we have here, not every single, but I would say most,
Mm-hmm.
think that the grass is greener. Which,
Yeah.
with the portal and all of that, and that's a
Yeah.
question that I had for you was with the portal stuff going on, how much is that affecting you as far as like retaining guys or just how much has that changed from like a recruiting standpoint
Yeah.
for you?
I mean, it's certainly changed for us. Like, we're the only school in the conference this year that has retained all of our guys.
I didn't even know that either, which
We had
that's
one guy in the
huge.
grad portal, and he decided to come back. So
That's huge.
that is, recruiting and now retention.
And was that Joe?
It was Joe.
Joe Stone.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, recruiting and unfortunately retention now is the lifeblood of your program. So
And I don't know how you guys do it.
yeah,
I mean, I'm naturally kind of an anxious person and I'm like a perfectionist.
yeah,
And I would always be thinking, about that what if
Yeah.
scenario. But at the end of the day, it's like if you reinforce those principles of like we're going to build strong relationships and we're going to make you better,
Yeah.
then where else can you get that?
I think
you
we
know?
offer a really holistic student athlete experience and
Yeah.
the best that we possibly can, given the constraints that we're working within and
Yeah.
kind of the level that we're at. And it's way more about the people in the clubhouse and the locker room than it is about us.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That is the relationships with those guys is what keeps you
Yeah, and I think
places. And
I think you guys have a good selling point too with like a sick facility.
Yeah.
You're at the All Stadium. You're also in Cincinnati, so like you're close enough to stuff, and there's a hotbed of talent here.
right.
Like, and I think it's underrated in Cincinnati. I think there's so much like there's kids who will come in here for like an eval, and I've never heard of them,
Yeah.
and they're just raw. Like they don't know anything about pitching or throwing or anything at all, and
Right.
they'll move, and I'll be like, "You've never worked with anybody before?" And he's like, "No, dude, I just like throw balls against my barn." You know what I mean? And I'm
Yeah.
like, "We got it. Like let's get this going, man, because this could be nasty."
Right.
But yeah, man. Like as far as Thomas More in the location in the facility, I think you guys are like, prime time.
Yeah, I think
it's
our goal
legit.
is if you drop a pin on home plate at Thomas More Stadium, we're going to recruit, within 2 hours of that really, really
That's really
hard.
cool.
So,
Yeah.
it's our job to, we're both younger dudes. I'm 26, Coach Schaefer's 28. So
Yeah.
it doesn't scare us to get out and really recruit really hard. And
Yeah,
I think that's your job. I think you have to
for sure.
go as far as you possibly can. And for us,
Yeah.
it's a 2-3 hour radius that we would need to really recruit really hard and
Yeah.
continue to push things forward that way.
Yeah, dude, and I just turned 30, so like
Yeah.
I can't say 20, which is brutal, by
Yep.
the way. It's like the one time where I didn't want people telling me happy birthday. because like usually whatever, but like everybody knew that I like 30. It's like because when you're 16 years old, in my head, 30 was like
Yeah.
old,
Yeah.
and now that I'm 30, I still feel like I'm
Yeah.
like
I
16.
remember being in eighth
Yeah,
grade and thinking 2019 is really far away. There's no
yeah,
way I'm ever
dude.
going to graduate
And
high
little did you
school.
know that 2020 was about to be the worst year of
Yeah.
everybody's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a blessing in disguise. I was able to spend some more time at home and really.
So what year are you during COVID?
So that was my first year. I was a
That
freshman.
was your first
My
year.
first year.
Okay.
So we were in Wilson, North Carolina on spring break, and we kind of heard of everything going on. And one of my roommates on that trip had told us that the NBA just canceled or moved to the bubble or
Yeah.
whatever, and he
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah, there's no way we're going." We were like,
Yeah.
"No way, dude! Like that, you need to
Yeah.
relax." And a couple hours later, Coach and Tony's brought us in the conference room and kind of broke the news. We hopped on the bus and had to go back. So,
Crazy, man. I
spe-
feel for those guys who went through that.
yeah, it was rough. There weren't too many guys that were on that team that got that extra year of eligibility that actually
Yeah.
took it, just because life kind of calls at different times for everybody, and
Yeah.
it sucked. Yeah, as
Yeah.
a young player in a program, like, you really lean on the older
Oh, for
guys, and
sure.
there was a pitcher, Logan Brewer, so shout out him. He
Yeah.
was Ashland High School graduate at
Okay.
ODU, and had a really good relationship with him, and a lot of other guys too that I had really good relationships with that kind of just had their career kind of ripped out from them, and
It's crazy, man. And I think a big problem with baseball players is that their identity is baseball.
yeah,
So when you take that away from them, it's like full panic mode. Like, what do I do now? It's the only thing I have.
yeah,
We'll see it a lot with injuries, or guys who just aren't playing anymore. That transition from like athlete to like normal civilian
yeah,
is weird.
yeah,
Um, and as far as this place, those are the kind of guys that we want to employ. Like
yeah,
how can we
hmm
keep you in the game? The people who are hungry for it, you know what I mean? Want to learn more about it
yeah,
and just be around it. Like those are the people we want here. We want a
right,
good atmosphere. We want a good culture. You come in here and it feels like, man, this is like a good baseball place.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely,
So that's a struggle, man. And with how common injuries are now, and preventing injury is difficult.
yeah,
And there's only so much you can do. But
yeah,
I mean, the game is just pushing for more and more and more. I don't know if there's going to be a pullback. I feel like been a little bit lately. Like, I feel like 3 or 4 years ago, it was, okay, how hard is he throwing? And that's kind of what I'm looking at. And
yeah,
now it's more so, okay, everybody throws 90. Can he throw 3 pitches in the zone?
right,
You know what I
yeah, yeah,
mean?
yeah,
I mean, the amount of people throwing hard, it's crazy. But
yeah.
I also feel like the amount of people spraying the ball, it's
Yeah,
different.
that definitely goes hand in hand, and I don't
Yeah.
know, it's you see it all, and kind of on the recruiting trail, and kind of watching as many games as we do. I think you see it all, and the guys that can have really quality stuff, and the guys that can really get into strike zone how they
Yeah.
need to, like, those guys are few and far between, unfortunately.
So do you guys like to recruit based off of like projection, or do you have like a floor of, hey, you have to be throwing at least this, or
hmm
you have to be in the zone with this, or like with your pitchers, what do you guys look for?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, like, we're looking for as many dynamic athletes as we possibly can.
For sure.
So,
Yeah.
like, we don't necessarily have a floor. I mean, there's probably one subconsciously. I don't really know what that is.
Mhm.
I think we would take the guy that's a really clean mover, and still maybe young baseball age,
Mhm.
that moves really well, and is maybe 82, 84, touching
Yeah.
85 here and there, and then the guy that it's really muscly, really stiff, and he's throwing 88 to 90 miles an hour. I think we would
Yeah.
take the first guy over that,
For
but
sure.
I think everybody kind of says that. I think with the injury thing you kind of mentioned, like, I think it's really hard to project, but I think the guys that are super muscly, and I think
Mhm.
there's ways that you can kind of see forward a little bit in
Yeah.
that, and I don't know. I think those are guys that I would worry about when it comes to the
I
later in their
agree.
career.
I mean, and when we do evals here, the guys who have limited range of motion, lack of mobility, but they have all the strength in the world,
Yeah.
those are usually the ones who are having issues.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is they need to do a lot of the boring, like day-to-day stuff. Like you need to get, your 8 to 10 hours of sleep. You need to eat your body weight in protein. You need to do your mobility stuff. You need to move fast. Like it's not just, hey, let's see how big I can get
Yeah.
and I'm going to rip hard. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I think maybe 15, 20 years ago, nobody really knew how to get somebody to throw harder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
could clean somebody up to like create repeatability and stuff like that, but Now we literally have labs where we can manipulate your body to throw harder.
Yeah.
And as a coach, and leading all the coaches here, that's one thing that I have to try to get better at, is not relying on like tools to dictate training. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's
Mhm.
literally just a tool.
Yeah.
Like if we can use that to help skip some progression a little bit, but not fully rely on it, because it's so easy to just grab an iPad during a bullpen
Yeah.
and just be really lazy. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
100%.
Like I like whipping the iPhone out and let's go on the mound with med balls and let's pull some slow mo video together and let's like feel and talk through things.
Yeah.
So that's something that I've always tried to prioritize on the training side, just because I think it creates longevity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could build. I'm convinced at this point that if anybody was like fully committed and fully bought in, we could get anybody to throw 90.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Now it's you might be able to throw 90, but it's going to last like 6 months, because then
Right.
you're going to be,
Yeah.
you're going to be on a wheelchair or
Yeah.
something afterwards because you're so banged up.
Absolutely.
You know what
I
I
think
mean?
that gets lost in the shuffle. Like the goal is not necessarily to get better at the drill or the lift
Yeah.
or whatever you're doing. The goal is to be a better athlete and throw the baseball harder. So that looks
Yeah.
different for everybody. Like I think it's hard for recruits now because you can go on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and see all your
Yeah.
boys that are 88, 90 going to all these big schools, and you look at yourself and maybe you're an underdeveloped guy that's
Yeah.
tall, lanky, kind of the guy we just mentioned, but you're only 80, 82, and that feels like miles away.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to navigate that, and the portal's a whole nother thing with high school
Hmm.
recruiting and all that stuff. It plays into it, but I think that what you just described like gets lost in the shuffle a lot.
Yeah, and again, it's just another fine line, and I think it's so fresh too that nobody really knows. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think, and I think that's why baseball and pitching coaches can be so opinionated, because they've kind of figured out what works for them. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And then they just hammer that home. But for me, I try to never be closed minded on anything. And
Mhm.
even if I hear like an initial idea, I'm like, yeah, no way in hell I'm ever doing that. I don't try to do that, just because there could be little tidbits of like something I could take from that. So you always have like the really opinionated coaches online
Mhm.
and I feel like, they're not necessarily right or wrong. I'm just always trying to like pull a little bit of info from everybody. Like
Yeah.
what works for this kid might not work for this kid. And like we're talking about Brant, right? So if I compare like Brant Styles and Kyle Flynn,
Mhm.
completely different movers.
Right. Yep.
Completely.
Yep.
You can't have them on the same spectrum. The problem is, I think, at least in baseball development, is everybody's essentially trying to do the same stuff, but they don't know why they're doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, why am I actually doing this?
Yeah.
And shout out Thomas More, because when you guys made that transition and you guys came onto that coaching staff, I was training Thomas More guys from the prior staff.
Yeah.
And when you guys came on, they came in like after a couple weeks of you guys being there, and you're like, yo, dude, look, I have like this legit throwing program now. I
Yeah.
have a lifting program now. And it was all color coded.
Mhm.
And they were showing me like your reports that you made from like TrackMan and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's like, you guys are really investing in the athlete. You're doing the stuff that we try to do
Yeah.
at like at an organization,
Yeah.
which is really rare.
Yeah.
You know what I
I
mean?
think
So
I think you have to, right? Like, you talk about seeing people on Twitter,
mhm.
everybody's posting things, and I think that's good because like getting your next job, like professional organizations will ask you, have you published anything?
Yeah.
Do you have a social media account? Like that's why people do it. And as a development coach, like it's your job to see that stuff and pick and pull things and basically just build your toolkit as much as you can because it's could be something you don't agree with at the time, but
Yeah.
in 3 years there could be an athlete you recruit that needs something you saw in that post.
Adapt or die, man.
So that's
Yeah.
kind of what it is,
Yeah.
and then from there, like trying to offer the best development experience that we can, like trying to give guys as much structure as possible.
Yeah.
So throwing programs, lifting, mobility when they need it.
Mhm.
The lifting is the big piece. Like
Mhm.
on our visits, we spend, on the development stuff, like we spend, a good chunk of time talking about the lifting because you look around the college game, like it's grown men. You got to be really
Yeah.
physical. So it's
And you can, it's funny too, because you can see when we go watch games who has like a developed program or not, because they just look like boys compared to men. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Like if
yeah,
you look at different programs, you're like,
yeah,
well, you can tell they don't necessarily
yeah.
prioritize
And it
that.
was worse a couple years ago because there were guys that had the COVID year
Okay.
that were, 23,
Just playing video
24.
games all day long, sitting in their house and
Right.
MLB The Show.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're taking a
Yeah.
couple online classes. I guess I was that guy my last year taking online classes, but
Yeah.
you know, they should be on the barbecue after the game, and they're playing against 18, 19-year-old kids. So
Yeah.
it's a big jump to make.
Yeah.
Those guys have kind of gotten out of it a little bit, but it hasn't changed. And you look at a school like Kentucky Wesleyan in our conference; those
Yeah.
guys are about as physical as it comes.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. I haven't. I don't have a relationship with those guys, but
yeah,
I'll have to look into that.
yeah,
But no, I think the guys who I was training during that whole transition phase, they were just pumped.
yeah,
They were like they felt lost before, so I think that whole structure thing you're talking about, it's huge.
yeah,
These guys need something to fall back on,
yeah.
and if you can make it like literally to where my 2-year-old could follow it,
Mm-hmm.
that's when it's like everybody's on the same page and everybody's winning.
Yeah,
And we talk about in here a lot, like with the coaches, there's so much lost information. That's something that we're constantly trying to develop. Like right now, I'm working on like an app for all the coaches, and it's basically just like a centralized communication to where if they're working with an athlete, they can add a note,
yeah,
and then at the end of the week, we pull all the notes, and then we'll recap it together. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
Stuff like that. At least I feel like in baseball, like baseball is such a fundamental and mechanical sport, but there's so much lost information, and it's still so everybody's just kind of attacking things from a different direction.
yeah.
So there's so much info, and with TikTok, Twitter, and like all that stuff, it's like, well, where do I even start?
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
having that like structure for them to fall back on, and then adjusting it as you go is
yeah,
huge. It's huge.
yeah.
I
At
think
the
it's the
end of
only
the
way to do stuff.
Yeah, at the end of the
Yeah.
day, like it's not about me as their coach. It's not about anybody as their coach. It's about what are we going to do to get these guys better and
Yeah.
help them reach their ceiling. So, if that means giving them, for some guys, it's just a throwing program and they're
Yeah.
good and they're ready to go. For others, it's a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's our job to be able to adjust that. If you have a cookie cutter kind of approach to that, it's going to be really hard to pivot.
Yeah.
I don't think you development now, like the way to go about it is not here's one plan for everybody. Here you go. Like there's too many different ways to do it, and
Preaching
again,
to the choir, man.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's our job to be able to piece those things together and find the missing link, and
Yeah.
by no means do I have it figured out whatsoever. I think that's what's fun about it is you always have to wake up, feel like you're on a sprint because there's
Mm-hmm.
somebody that's learning this would kill to have your job,
100%.
right? So
We were just talking about it before you came in. It's like a bad day here is still a bad day in baseball. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's still baseball. And you brought up a good point where you're talking about how you don't know everything, but you're always trying to like learn more. We talk about that too, where we challenge these athletes to like push themselves and grow. We got to be doing the same. You know what I
mhm,
mean? Like
yeah,
again, development's always changing.
yeah,
So if we're not trying to develop as coaches, how can I ask you to do the same as an athlete?
yeah.
So I'm always trying to the point where like my wife probably hates me for it because I'm annoying. Like I just obsess over trying to make this as good as I can.
Yeah.
You know what I
Well, if you
mean?
get comfortable for a month, the game will have come up with something and
Yeah.
will have changed in just a month. That's how much data and tech and information there is available to everybody. So
Yeah.
like I really, really believe in that. Like if you don't wake up feeling like you're still chasing something, whether it's learning something new or finding a new way to help one of your guys, because that's really all it's about. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna get lost in the shuffle because the shuffle is big and strong now. There's a lot of information publicly available that people can
Hmm.
learn from.
And I think just a coach even having that like self recognition that is important is huge in itself.
Yeah.
So, well, before you coached college baseball, have you ever coached high school baseball, or did you just go right into ODU
Yeah,
and
before
stay
my
there?
last year at ODU, so before my COVID year, I did a summer as an assistant coach for a summer team in the Cleveland
Okay.
area.
Okay.
So really just kind of helping out
Just like a summer ball team.
yeah, needed a summer job and
What
wanted
did
to
you
be
think
around.
about coaching summer ball?
It's different.
So
Yeah,
I've had a fair shake with summer ball. I've coached about 4 or 5 years, different summer teams. This is the first year I'm not coaching summer ball,
yeah,
and it's awesome.
yeah,
It was just it's a bit of a broken system in
yeah,
my opinion. There's just the expectations and it's kind of just like nobody knows what they're working towards and they're going to win a ring on Sunday that doesn't matter.
Yep.
I'm such like a development guy.
yeah,
I don't miss summer ball.
yeah.
So that being said, how often do you guys get out and like recruit for summer ball games, and what's the approach to that compared to watching like a high school game? Because that's a big conversation. It's, well, hey, you're not going to get recruited in high school. High school
Yep.
baseball is not going to get you recruited. Summer ball is for recruitment. But
Yep.
like, what does that actually mean? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yep.
So compare those from a recruiting standpoint, high school versus summer ball. Like, what do you guys look at?
Yeah. I think you treat those two things differently just because the environments are different. I love recruiting, especially April, May, June of the high school season in Ohio because those games really matter.
Yeah.
Um, you know, we go up to Baden a lot to recruit.
Yeah.
It's a big time game day
Shout
atmosphere,
out
and
Brian Trodway.
yeah, shout out
Just
those
got
guys,
state.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're bringing in
Big time.
a couple of those guys, and part of that process of us recruiting them is we know that they've been in situations where there's 30 other dudes in the dugout yelling at them. That's not something that you have in summer ball necessarily.
Yeah.
Like there's different things that are going on in the spring season than the summer. You have to recruit the summer really, really hard, and that's the biggest evaluation period for us just because
Hmm.
of the recruiting timeline.
For sure.
Um,
You guys are playing in the spring. Yeah.
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 Yep. So
Yeah.
off days in April and May, like we're getting out and watching high school games, and I love it because the games matter. The scoreboard's
And
on.
it's great for you guys because you're at the Yole Stadium,
Yeah.
and high school games are played there all the time.
Yep.
So you can literally recruit in your backyard.
Yeah.
Like before you guys took that job over there, and that I knew that job was open. In my head, didn't have the time for it, but in my head, I was thinking, man, if I had that facility and this location, I would go there, and there's just so much you can do like in this area.
Yeah.
And it's almost like it's delivered to you. You
Yeah.
know what I
Right.
mean? So you guys are in a good spot
Yeah.
as
We've
far as
we,
that.
we recruit the high school games there. We have the stadium track man. We're able to get all that information, and for example, Brant through in March, we were
Yeah.
able to get him a track man report
That's
and
huge.
start working on the development before he even gets here. Like that's really important.
Nobody offers that.
Yeah.
That's super rare.
And even from a recruiting standpoint, like shout out my brother at Ashland, like he's helping me work on a D2 stuff model basically.
Really
So
cool.
we're able to take the track mean data that we get in the recruiting process and figure out roughly what is that going to look like at the Division II level,
Yeah.
or at least at our stadium, because it's certainly an offensive shifted stadium. You better be able to keep the ball on the ground if you're gonna
Yeah.
produce at
Yeah.
that stadium
Yeah.
individually.
That brings up a good point. Because obviously I'm pitcher biased. I train pitchers.
Yeah.
But what do you guys look for in your hitters and defensive guys? Like,
Yeah.
how do you weigh like, okay, he's a decent left fielder, but he's a really good bat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what does that look like? And
I think it varies by position. So, like, for the most part, it's recruiting up the middle of the field. Like, if you can take a high school center fielder and turn him into, a college left fielder, like,
yeah,
you're going to take that. But at least, for us, I think it's defense first when we're talking up the middle of the field. Coach Schaefer is somebody that is on the cutting edge of offensive and hitting development. He's going to work in this thing and make a lot of money for a really long time doing this.
it's awesome.
We really believe in the development systems that we have on the offensive side. So if we can get a really productive defender and somebody that's a kind of a dynamic athlete that can maybe impact the game right now with his glove and his legs, like we
Yeah.
really believe in our ability to develop that guy as a hitter. And I when I was at ODU, I helped him with that, and I learned something, when I was working with him there, learned something from him every single day.
It's
And
awesome.
even today, like we still live together. So I learned
Nice.
something from him
That's awesome.
every single day, whether it's in the living room, in the office, on the field. Like
And that's important. If surround yourself by people who are better than you
Yeah.
at what you're trying to accomplish,
Yeah.
and just know more than you.
Yeah.
I always talk about like our owner Ryan. That guy is like a ball of knowledge, and just being around him has changed my perspective on a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's the hack to life, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
It's just if you surround yourself with people who not have it figured out, but like have failed
Yeah.
so many times that now they've figured it out.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's like it's literally just failure way to
Yeah.
success. I've done stupid things, and from a training side or recruiting, it's like all that stuff. I've done things where like what was I thinking?
Yeah.
But if I wouldn't have done it, it wouldn't have made me better.
Right.
So
Well, going back a little bit, like when I first got done playing, I kind of transitioned into the coaching role. It was volunteer. I was making no money.
yeah,
Coach Schaefer had a job at Fastenal in
Okay.
Columbus. So
Okay.
it's industrial supply, selling nuts and bolts, and basically
okay.
somewhere between a salesman and a
The
delivery
dude was
boy.
grinding. Yeah,
Yep.
he was
So
grinding.
he was doing
Yeah.
that my last year playing. He was able to move to more of a full-time role at ODU, and he basically handed that job off to me. So
Okay.
that first year at ODU, I was doing the schedule that he was kind of doing that first year, and and it sucked, but he like showed me that this is part of being a young coach. Like you have to cut your teeth at some point, and
Yeah.
like the 6 to 3, we're selling washers and nuts and bolts. And
Dude.
there was a period where we were working together, so that was really cool, and
Yeah.
like that taught he that experience, and he taught me that that is something that you're just gonna have to go through as a young coach.
It's like being a freshman, like all over again.
Oh yeah,
It's like the reset on life.
yeah,
And those people who go through that, though, are the ones who are the most successful, in my
yeah,
opinion. Like, if you look at the richest, most powerful, or owns the biggest companies or whatever, like an Elon Musk or whatever it is, they've been through like very dark things.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And it seems like it long term. It's you learn from it and
Yeah.
it's good for you.
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
I'm really, really grateful, and I know Coach Schaefer's the same way. Like we are working at Thomas More, all day, every day, and trying to
It's
make this
awesome.
thing as good as we can. But I have like a different level of appreciation for it. I know he does too, just because of kind of the path to get there. And his was certainly a little bit longer than mine. I'm still in the middle of that.
Yeah.
Truthfully, I'm not immune to that at all
Yeah.
right now. As I finish year 2 as a coach,
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
immune to that. But I really appreciate and kind of where we're at
And
now.
I know where you've been with that before, because it wasn't just I finish school and then start coaching. I had a normal 9 to 5, like,
Yep.
sold insurance job. And then in the evenings I would go train. So
Hmm.
I was gone all day long. And this was before I had a child.
Yeah.
And then there was a decision kind of had to be made where my wife got pregnant and I was still doing that. And it was, you can't keep doing this. You probably, at first it was stop coaching baseball.
Right.
You just need to go back and work a normal 9 to 5. But I was so miserable doing that. And that's a good thing to complain. Like, I'm lucky that I can complain about that. It's like it was
Yeah.
a good job.
Absolutely.
That being said, it just didn't satisfy me. So I told her, and this was literally like 3 months before we had a baby. I said, I'm gonna go all in on baseball for 1 year, and then let's reevaluate for 1 year, and then we'll go from there. Um, and she was super supportive.
Yeah.
At first, it was like, I remember we were sitting at Buffalo Wild Wings in a booth, and I'm telling her this, and she was like, you could just see it on her face. She's like, what are you thinking? And in like when the family found out about that, it's like, what is he doing? He's
Yeah.
about to have a baby and he's going all into baseball. Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing?
Yeah.
Um, which understandably so. But I went all in on it for 1 year and it paid off.
Yeah.
And then I was kind of solo grinding for a few years, and then this place picked me up.
Yeah.
And now I have access to all these tools and
Yeah.
resources, and the growth has just been
I
insane.
respect the heck out of that because it's really hard to
Yeah.
take leaps. Like regardless of
Dude, it was
regardless
hard.
of what you're doing, like
Yeah.
it's really, really hard to take a leap like that and have no
Yeah.
idea what's below you when you're jumping. So
Yeah, man, it was a crazy experience, but hopefully I keep experiencing things like that. You know
yeah.
what I mean? I want to keep,
Yeah.
like I said, I know I'm 30, but I'm only
Yeah.
30. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, come on, like I don't want
Yeah.
to. Yeah, I'm
You
not.
can't there growth and kind of experiences like that,
Yeah.
they're interwoven together. Like that's always gonna be something.
Yeah, so like, what's next? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the only thing. Is like, what's the next thing?
Right.
And do you ever like ask yourself that, like, or and I obsess over that to where I feel like everything's in a good spot, and then I'm like, okay, I don't like how comfortable I am right now.
Yeah.
I need to do something.
Yeah.
How do I continue pushing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, do you experience that with what you do, or I don't know if it's a personality thing or
Yeah, a
what,
little bit.
but
I mean, I think you have to, but
yeah,
the only way, whatever is next for you, whatever the only way you get there is you really, really dominate what you're doing right now.
yeah,
So, for me, what that looks like is I really need to, help us dominate in recruiting and really make sure that we're doing everything we possibly can to improve and get our guys on the mound better. And I
yeah.
know
And if you're
Coach
watching
Schaefer feels
this,
the
go look
same.
at the 2026 class that's committed there. They're freaking, at least on the pitching side.
Yeah.
I can speak on the pitching side. They're juiced. And I have guys who are currently at Thomas More sending me video of the high school kids who are committed, and they're like, dude, like, this kid's crazy. So I think that's awesome that you have like upperclassmen who are not like almost like intimidated a little bit by
Yeah.
the incoming class, because again, iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
So if they have that, like, oh, I really need to get it together,
Yeah.
like, that's huge.
I think that's good. Like again, you have to wake up in a full sprint.
Yeah.
And in the recruiting space, like Coach Schaefer is the most high level recruit I've ever been around. Everything that I feel like I know about recruiting is something that I've learned from him.
That's awesome.
And I think this class is like a good testament to that. Like he is really, really awesome about building the relationships with our guys first and foremost, but it starts in the recruiting process, and that's what commits guys, but that's also what retains guys.
Yeah.
So that's I couldn't talk about our recruiting class without talking about Coach Schaefer. That dude is
Yeah.
tireless on the
So,
recruiting
man,
trail, and I hope a quality that I pick up from him because I really admire that about him.
so what are your guys' goals for the 2027 year? What are you
Yeah,
guys hoping to do next year?
I th- you know I think we did a really good job of
And I guess before that, recap this year.
yeah.
So, like, recap this year.
Yeah,
But you guys had a record-breaking year on wins, right?
we did. So we had more wins than Division two era than they ever had at Thomas More.
Huge. And it was your guys' first year.
Yep, in first year and with a roster of 28 or 29
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
So I
You gotta
hope,
respect the hell out of that. Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate that. I hope this year, like we've kind of, I think winning is a skill that can be developed. Like how to win awareness is a real thing. Unfortunately, we just came up short. We lost 6 different conference extra inning games.
Mm.
Um, the good news is we're retaining all those position players and we're kind of have a new wave of guys on the mound that are hopefully going to come in and help us right away. So
Yeah.
the goal is to use those experiences this year and hopefully we're a little calloused over to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We go up to Northwood in the middle of March in Midland, Michigan and lose 2 extra inning games.
Mm.
We needed a little bit better offensive execution at the end of both of those games and I hope those are experiences that we can draw on in 2027 just because it's not going to be the first time,
Yeah.
Northwood was in the World Series
Yeah, in
last
mid
year.
March in Michigan in mid March. What is it,
Yeah.
like 40 degrees?
Yeah, it was cold. The field was a little sloppy. It was cold, right? Like
Not ideal playing
Yep.
conditions.
And
Yeah.
I think we ran into this year a little bit. We were a little bit surprised to be in games with those guys. So
Yeah.
Northwood was just in the World Series. We lost in extra innings to Ashland. We played
Yeah.
really close games with them. I think for 2027, it's establishing. Look, we're not going to be surprised to be in those games anymore.
Yeah.
Now is we just have to execute at a higher level than they do. And I think that is the first thing we need to do when we get back in the fall is make sure that everybody's on the same page with you have to act like a winner every single day. Coach Schaefer says that all the time, and
Nice.
winning is a skill. It can be developed. So we're trying to do that in literally every single little thing that we do.
So if somebody came in and people do this and they ask me this question, I want to go to Thomas More. How do I get there? What would you tell them? What are you looking for?
Yeah, the biggest thing we're looking for is really really good dudes. So it is our job in the recruiting process to protect the culture that is being built in our locker room. So we need to bring in guys that are really good dudes and really high character. That's going to trickle into the academic piece. That's going to trickle into the community piece and to the life piece. That's the
And I know
biggest
this is
thing.
going to be a question as far as like academics, GPA and ACT. Like, is there, again, we were talking about like the soft line for like velo.
Yeah.
Is there like a, hey man, you've got a 2.7.
Yep.
You're lazy in the classroom. You might be lazy on the field. You know what I mean? Do those
Yep.
correlate, or like what do you guys look for there?
Yeah, I mean, how you do one thing is how you do everything. I'm a firm believer in that. And Thomas More has always been a really high academic institution, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of safeguards in place to make sure that our freshmen and all of our guys really are doing what they need to do in the classroom. Everybody above a 3.0, when you apply to Thomas More, everybody above a 3.0, you get accepted. Now your academic merit money is kind
Gotcha.
of
Depending on
depends on your GPA. We are test score optional, so
that. Okay.
I don't know if that I would worry about that too much. There's a ACT bonus, so depending on
Okay.
what you score on the ACT,
There's
you
some
could get
dudes
more
here
money.
with like a 19.
Yeah, so and that's okay.
That are like, yo, coach, I want to go to what like. I'm not gonna say the kid's name here, but we had a Ivy League school reach out to him, and they said, hey, we really like your stuff. Can you send us your transcript? And he called me and he said, coach, what's a transcript? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like if this kid is watching, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna say your name, but I was like, hey man, like that might not be that might not be it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's funny because I think the first time they get contacted by a school, they're so excited.
Yeah.
They have that like, dude, I finally made it phase.
Yeah.
But then you have to kind of take that step back and like, okay, like what are their goals? Am I able to offer what they need? You know what I mean?
Right.
Things like that. So
Yeah.
But that being said, it's been awesome to see what you guys have done. Like we have a lot of the Thomas More guys in here. They love you. They love Coach Schaefer. What you guys are doing is different. It's different. Just from again, I was during that. I was coaching those guys before you were there.
Yeah.
And when that transition happened, I feel like there's always this like lag year where it takes things to kind of adjust. There wasn't. They
Yeah.
came in here pumped. They loved the programming. They loved the lifting and the throwing practice, everything.
Yeah.
And they liked your guys' personalities.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I appreciate that. That's good to hear. Again, that if we don't have anything unless we have, our players in a relationship with those guys. So that's,
yeah,
I think we're going to continue to move in the right direction as long as, that's a thing, and it's always evolving. We try to make sure we're always learning something, trying to tweak something, and that's just a trait of being a
yeah.
winner that we hopefully want to impress on all of our guys we have in the program.
And for us, we want to work with you guys as long as we can. I personally want to work with people who want to develop and get better and everything that you're saying.
Yeah.
We're kind of cut from the same cloth.
Yeah.
So I hope we have a long relationship, not just with you, but with Thomas More and all the guys. And obviously, moving forward, anything we can do to help you guys out from, before we cut it, I would love when one of your guys who don't actively train here would like DM me on Instagram
Hmm.
and hey, my bicep is like a little tight or something. And then I'll give him my number and we'll get on a phone call. And
Yeah.
it's like, hey, well, explain. I love that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I
Yeah.
love that they're looking for more information.
Yeah.
So if we can ever be that resource of, because you guys are busy, you have a
Yep.
lot on your plate. If we can ever be that resource of, just go see Travis or something, like I would love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's we want to keep working with you guys, and we're really impressed with everything you're doing.
Yeah,
So.
likewise. I appreciate all your help, and we have a lot of our current guys and a lot of our incoming guys that work with you now, and it has been seamless, and that's been really
Exciting.
important to the development of our program is the help of you guys.
Well, I appreciate it. And not everybody's super open, but you guys are super open, and I'll never be a dictator. I always want to be I want to help everybody get better,
Right.
and that's it.
Yeah.
So we appreciate it, man. And again, first one. And
Yeah.
I'm super pumped about you being here, and
Yeah.
hopefully this thing's successful and we keep it going.
Yeah. Well, appreciate you having me.
So,
It's
man.
been a blast, and really appreciate it.
All right, man.